Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise, and in this segment we'll be speaking about AUTAD, the Association for Women's Total Advancement and Development, which is a non-profit association established in 2008 and works with women and youth in the fields of personal, professional and social development, with special emphasis on entrepreneurship, handcrafts revival, mentoring and capacity building. We're joined with Dr. Shireen Alam, the chairperson of the Association of the Women's Total Advancement and Development AUTAD. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Shireen. Well, first of all, I'd like to know more about the vision of AUTAD.
The vision of AUTAD is based mainly on how we can help the ecosystem to be ready as a platform to be able to help women, youth in different areas, and the emphasis that you mentioned in handicrafts, which is one of the major fields in Egypt, and entrepreneurship and employability, which is a huge challenge in our country.
Yes. And with this, span of work, if we can start first with the handcrafts, because this is something that is reviving the traditions of Egypt, and also it enables the second part that you spoke about, which is entrepreneurship and also employability. So it is sort of interconnected together.
Definitely, and in handicrafts what we do is not we just take handicrafts or we teach handicrafts. We realize that this is not enough. What we're doing is actually working with handicrafts and producers to be able to get them to understand that their skill could be scaled up, that there are new products that could be created, and we link them with designers to help them to do that for product development and at the same time for new designs, and with markets, so that we can ensure the sustainability of the whole process. So that's the main thing that we do there.
Yes, that's the program that you call Artpreneur.
That's the program we call Anam al-Masriya.
Anam al-Masriya.
Yes.
What about the Artpreneur one? What's the difference?
It's not the difference, it's part of it. Artpreneur is about those that want to be entrepreneurs inside this field. Because not everybody in that field can be classified as an entrepreneur. They can be producers, which is very beautiful area, but at the same time they're not businesses. They are just producers. The entrepreneurs are the ones that want to take this into a business formula, that have studied, that are interested to go into companies, create the companies or partnerships, either in the field of production and specializing in one area, or going through marketing or through design.
You have another program also dealing with the same thing, but now it's more for the economic empowerment. It's called Promoting Women Economic Empowerment.
Yes.
So what's the difference here? Is it because this is more general?
No, actually the target group is different. The one you're talking about, or what we call PWE, which is the shortened part, it deals with women that have businesses that are already at the stage of growth. They created like 1 million or 2 million of sales, and they're ready to go into bigger markets, whether it's in region or internationally. So we take these and scale them up into international markets through B2B meetings, and at the same time we're giving them more skills on how to negotiate and close deals.
Yes. Yes. So it has been since 2008, I guess, and AUTAD is kind of known in the field of trying to support women, and there's a lot of focus placed. So if you can tell us a little bit about the journey itself. We spoke about the program and the vision, but the journey itself in the past 8 years, what has happened? And
it's been a fascinating journey, to tell you the truth. I mean, on the personal level and on the professional level, because there is so much you can learn. You go in with a certain vision, and you discover that you really have to fine-tune, and there's so much in the market that needs to be tailored, fine-tuned, so that you really can create impact. The journey was all about finding the niche, or the areas where you need to put in the development areas. How do we establish them? Who are the partners that we can work with? And how we can develop this and keep it sustainable, because sustainable is the key of the whole process.
Yeah, you're also an environmentalist, and actually you led a campaign called the Green Movement. Is that true?
No, actually we didn't in AUTAD, but what we have is personally, I had a company with my husband to recycle printer cartridges.
Okay.
So it was not in the environmental part as AUTAD, but it was
it's part of your interest as well.
Definitely. definitely. But it's not, I mean, I don't have a full program in it, but
Yeah.
I have the interest in trying to get the products and the vision and the idea and the thinking in the market to be able to get people to understand how this is not a byproduct, it could be a main product.
Yes, interesting.
Now, another program is UP. So
Yes.
would you tell us a bit about UP, please?
Okay, UP is about purely about entrepreneurship, and it really works with the idea of taking entrepreneurs from the stage of an idea all the way to growth, and it's a 3-stage program. The first one is it's called Thinkubator. Thinkubator works on the ideas, and it usually works with young people in universities that have tons of ideas that are beautiful, but still do not know how to shape it into a business. And we help them to up to the level of shaping that into a business and ready to be able to take it to the next level of starting up. The second one is called Startup, and it's about companies either established or ready to be established. And we work through experts in the market on how to really give them the sustainable base of growing and existing. And the next one is the one we called Peewee. It's part of it, is the Scale Up, which are the growth-ready companies in the market.
Yes. I want to go back to the journey because, you know, what you said that we learned a lot as we moved in changing our vision, how we are reacting to the challenges that existed, and how to really influence and do this impact. Because the majority of the associations that's trying to support women or even entrepreneurship has a lot of challenges, and the massive issue is the reach and how to scale in order to have real impact that affects thousands of people. How is this done through AUTAD, or is it still in the phase of discovering the challenges in order to move to larger scales of thousands of women?
Actually, no, we have not reached the stage of scaling up to the level of thousands. We wish, and I think it's a continuous process. It's not something that you can say, I've reached thousands and I'm happy with it. We started off by reaching tens and then hundreds, and then yes, the thousand word is there, but it's not the thousands I'm hoping
Yes.
for. The scaling up process is very sort of like, it has growing pains.
Yes.
You have a lot of issues to deal with. You have to be able to handle it on the administrative part so that it doesn't fall apart, on the monitoring and evaluation part, on how you can really keep it, the quality of what you're giving should not be diluted while growing. So these are all challenges, and we're doing it very slowly to be able to maintain that we can continue to impact
So
correctly.
like they say, slowly but surely, because
Exactly.
you can cover thousands, but you don't have the depth impact.
Exactly.
So what you're trying to do is at least whatever you're covering is having major impacts. Because if
Exactly.
you're covering a person, you're definitely covering 5 people.
Yep.
Because there are families involved.
Definitely, it's a tree effect. Okay,
Yes, of
sometimes what you're doing really gets carried over, and it's a tree effect, and it really works well. But we don't usually count those as a direct impact; they are a secondary impact. But I think what we all have to do is again how to scale up the model, and how do we partner, which is a major challenge in our countries, and how to create the teams and partner with different, so that you don't keep reinventing the wheel.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
Dr.
the key point.
Shireen, yeah, that's right. Dr. Shireen, actually you participated in the World Women Leadership Conference, and it was about women empowerment in the Middle East. So what was the main thing you focused on in that conference?
When I talk there, the main thing I always say is that women in the Middle East have to learn how to help women. And that's the main challenge. We always say that society is not helping us, that men are not helping us, and I think there is a piece of every part in this. But I think what we have to really unite in is how women can help women. I mean, when you go into a mentoring program, you find the least number of mentors are in women, not the most. And that has to be changed, because the biggest number of investors that put in women businesses is not women. And again, that's an issue that has to be worked at so that we can empower women more, and that's what I talked about in brief in that context.
Another important program is Women in Debt.
Women in debt,
Your help setting women in debt?
yes, and it's through actually giving them a skill, giving them simple skills, and maybe that links to part of what you were talking about, how the environmental, because we use the recycling part so that they don't have to pay a lot in the raw material. and how they can get material from their environment and create something, sell it, so that they don't get in debt. And we build them and train them in a model of how they can start with a certain amount of money and how they repay it and turn it around and so on.
Yes. You spoke about partnership, and we usually, as part of the media job, is that we speak to a lot of associations and NGOs who are trying and striving hard to enhance the situation either for women, for young youth, and so on and so forth. The partnership part is key because you find a lot of replicas of associations doing the same thing, and like you said, everybody will be having this minimum span or scale in order to reach people. So did it happen by any sort that every association in terms of partnership that handles a part of the process while the other association or NGO supports the second aspect of this long journey? Because this is a journey, you cannot cover it all.
Exactly, and usually it's too long. You need a lot of money to be able to do it on your own. And to answer your question, actually, it is starting. It has not been done fully, but it's starting, and that's promising.
That's good news.
I think it's starting also by the way the funds are being formulated, that everybody, like a group, has to work on a certain project. And we have to submit from the beginning together by thinking each one is doing what.
And who's the mastermind behind this initiative?
I think it's the need in the market. It's not about a mastermind that comes from abroad or local. It's really a need that now emphasized that we need to do this to be able to really create the impact we want to see.
Yes.
I mean, we love seeing it in small squares, but still we have the whole area and we have to cover it in our lifetime, and I think it will be much faster if we do it this way. So it's the need that really...
Do you think the government should be playing a role in terms of maybe orchestrating towards a certain initiative and hence spearheading this initiative?
I think there has to be always, it's not only the government, it's the government, the private sector, and the NGOs. They really have to partner on a PPP formula to really get the impact and get this process working properly. We have to be able to realize that we can't do everything. There is power in or advantage in doing things in the government. There are advantage in doing things because they have it already. And if you really talk about what you have and how you put it in the puzzle, I think the outcome would be great.
Dr. Shireen, you're also interested in improving the quality of the rural life, and you have the project A Village at a Time, or A Village at a Time. Now, how far have you progressed in that initiative?
This is in the pipeline. We did a sort of like a sample of the whole thing, but the whole idea was built on a model of how we can get women in the core of production, so that we can have a product that's produced by women. And the men in the village will be the ones, the rest of the value chain. They will be the ones that are, handling the warehousing, the deliveries, the sales, and they're trained, all of them, on doing this. And the first thing we thought about of doing is working on solar lights, because there's a lot of villages that don't have lights. According to some statistics, it says about 19,000 Egyptian villages don't have light. And we were trying to get this model in about 2 years ago, and people still didn't believe in solar at the time. Now it's becoming a big topic, and I think it's going to start to move pretty soon.
Now, for the countryside, would solar energy to install these the instruments necessary for it, would it be expensive or not?
Actually, the whole model is built on creating affordable models for base of the pyramid. Okay, so that it has to be affordable, it has to have a price. They assemble it. And the assembling is very easy, actually. The process is not very hard, so you can teach them on how to assemble it. That would cut down the cost of the assembling outside because they can take it. And at the same time, that would be creating work for them and getting them into a more modern production cycle.
Yes, if we can speak about the stories, because working with NGOs, there's a lot of stories that you come and face personally. Yep. And if you can share with us something that really touched your heart and that you would represent also the impact of the association on people and how you're trying to support the community.
Oh my God, there's tons of stories that touch my heart. And that's the beauty, and that's why I'm in this field, because I love it. I think if we take it like for women producers, simple producers that have been producing, for example, for years, and their income is just a small amount, and all of a sudden when you take them and start giving them orders, and they start to realize the market is much bigger than they're seeing. It's not as small as a room, it's as big as the world. And you start to see, they come and tell you, oh my God, it's changing everything in our lives. We're getting more income, we are being able to do things that we've never done before. And how they start to think when you believe that they don't have the ability to create anything that is sellable, how they start to think on their own and create products that are beautiful. And they start to open markets by themselves. I mean, this is amazing in one area. In the area of entrepreneurship, when you find a startup of a young person that's just starting, it's small, and he's really struggling to make ends meet, and then you give him the tips, the advice, the guidance and the knowledge, and he starts to be able to go out by himself, go in the market, and just sends you messages saying, I signed my first contract, the second contract, the third contract, and all of a sudden, instead of him looking around for money to be able to just make ends meet, he's looking on how to grow, who to get into his company, to be able to build it, and no, it's amazing.
And the impact is not like what you mentioned, is not on this person, on the company that this person is creating, and the people who's working with this.
Definitely, because he starts to have, instead of a one-man show, he's starting to be a group. He's trying to figure out who to hire, how to get in. He's looking for an office space. So again, that's an income that's going into somebody else's
This is why
pocket.
the quality is important here, because the quality of developing these people.
Definitely.
So you're already scaling to thousands.
I'm hoping. I always say I'm hoping.
Yeah, because what you're saying is that you're focused on hundreds, and those hundreds are helping other people who are actually taking care of others. So it is the significance and impact, if measured correctly, I think you're going through thousands, and maybe you don't know that?
No, actually, no, it's not a matter of knowing, it's a matter of wanting more.
That's right. That's right.
I know that we're doing fine with that group, but I think, and we're impacting secondary impact, but still I would love to get them as first-hand, because they will impact even more. And that will create change much faster.
Amazing efforts. Thank you very much, Dr. Shireen Alem, chairperson of the Association for Women's Total Advancement and Development, AUTAD. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. And now it's time for a short break, and we'll be back, so stay with us.